What's going on, guys? My name is Tyler and welcome back to the channel on this wonderful afternoon for another CCIV update video. And obviously, like the title of this video does say, we are going over the potential for a CCIV Gamma Squeeze throughout the rest of this week because I think there's a huge potential to see this Gamma Squeeze. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over the charts in this video as well as the short interest, how many shares that are currently sold short, as well as go over why CCIV is popping so much today, up over 9% on the day, as well as go over my overall position in CCIV. So I'm very excited to be bringing you guys this video. If you are investors or traders in CCIV, this was a great day and hopefully boost some of the morales going into this vote day and obviously the day that we start merging as Lucid Motors. But with that being said, make sure to smash that like button for me as well as comment down below and consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. So kicking off this video, guys, the main reason why I do think CCIV is up over 9% today is the fact that Lucid Motors has been very active on their Twitter, reminding investors to vote by July 21st at 11:59 p.m. and make sure every single one of you guys vote. Every vote is important. But I think what this is really doing, obviously kicking off a Gamma Squeeze, a lot of people are buying options, which we're going to take a look at, as well as possibly some shorts starting to cover. But I think even more than that, this publicity is spreading out to more investors because I think a lot of people are too involved with other things and they're really not paying attention to what is going on with CCIV and the fact that we are merging into Lucid Motors coming Friday. So I think this is overall drawing a lot of attention, and especially after this move for today, this is definitely going to turn some eyes to CCIV. But that is where the real opportunity comes in as long-term investors or traders in CCIV is right now when there's not much talk about this. You want to buy the dip, sell the rip. That is the name of the game, especially with options, longer-term investments like the ones that I do have in actual stock. I'm not looking to sell those anytime in the near-term future. But now let's get into what the Ortex data is signifying. Keep in mind, take this information with a grain of salt. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, sometimes they're off in their calculations, sometimes they're not being reported the full scope of the data. So just take this with a grain of salt. But the short interest change of negative 0.45%, return shares of 15.47 million, borrowed shares of 15.21 million. So they're indicating we had 257.3 thousand shares that were covered. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these are going to be just shares that were on loan. You see the free flow on loan is 27.51%. We've seen about 15 million across the board, almost 15.5 million return shares and borrowed shares, and we're not even seeing the volume at 15 million. So this is telling you, if the Ortex data is correct, that a lot of these shares are just being returned that were actually free floated on loan. It's not necessarily shorts covering, but I would suspect some shorts did take this day to cover. And I ultimately think as well, when it does come down to hedge funds and institutions, they are so worried about their losing short positions in stocks like AMC and other stocks that they are not really paying attention to their short positions in CCIV. So a lot of potential for a short squeeze here as well. But the current short interest percentage of free float at 17.45%, current shares that are sold short of 36.13 million. Now, two other factors to keep in the back of your guys' mind is that share utilization is at 100%. So it is very hard to get your hands on shares of CCIV. It's going to be hard if all the shorts do want to cover at the same time. So you will 100% see a short squeeze if a lot of shorts want to cover at the same time. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know if that'll happen. I've been saying this for weeks now that I think this will be the case. So I ultimately think there will be a short squeeze as well as a gamma squeeze when it does come down to it. But also the days to cover at 4.39 million, which mixed this with the share utilization is telling you that it's going to take a long time. The price could possibly go up a lot before a lot of these shorts are able to cover their positions, especially if people are just buying and holding. That is a key factor here because CCIV does have a lower float. Potentially we could control a lot of the float just as retail investors. But let's get to the juicy stuff. Let's talk about the Gamma Squeeze that I do think is going to happen throughout Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday throughout the rest of this week, simply due to the fact there is a lot of options that are very close to the money, guys. Look at this $25 strike with 7,630 contracts that are in open interest. If all of these are held by market makers on the other side and all of these are just purchased by regular people, then this would be controlling 760,000 shares. And pretty much all down the list, you're seeing over 1,000 on pretty much every single strike besides the 2650 that is at 763, but you're seeing 7600, 1200, 7400, obviously 763 like we just said, 5500, 1200, almost 4500, 2200, and then 14,000 at the $30 strike. So I think it's quite possible we could go back to that $30 price, and you will see a lot of hedging that is going on by these market makers, because if you guys are unfamiliar how a gamma squeeze works, when you are buying a call, you have the right to buy shares at that strike price. So if you were buying a $25 call, you wanted to exercise that, you would buy these shares at $25. 9 times out of 10, there is not enough people willing to sell covered calls and be the one selling you those shares at $25. So you get the market makers that come in, agree to sell you the shares at $25. Let's just say $25 for this example, agree to sell you them at $25. So they will buy the shares before $25, so at least they can make a profit. It wouldn't make sense for them to buy them at $25.50 when they would have to sell you them at $25. The casino, the house, the market makers, they are not in this to lose money. So that is essentially what happens with a gamma squeeze. And if we see this momentum continue throughout tomorrow, that is really going to be, I think, a make it or break it moment. Tomorrow and Wednesday. I don't think you're going to get too much action on Friday unless we get some price increase to the upside tomorrow and Thursday. Simply because if we get close to $30, you're going to see 1.4 million shares that potentially have to be hedged for. And when you do add these together, you're looking at about 3 to 4 million in shares that potentially need to be bought. And taking a look at the relative volume that we do see on a day-to-day basis, for today we only seen 12 million in volume. So if you see a single day or even a couple days where 4 million of that volume would have to be just market makers buying shares to oblige for these contracts, you could for sure see a gamma squeeze, and that's a culmination effect, right? So you're going to see more and more of these options of open interest go into the money, more hedging going on. So I think this could happen very fast. I expect tomorrow to be a great day just because of how many shares that will need to be hedged for. And this is a very important expiration week. As far as next week, you're not seeing nearly as much volume. Obviously, on the key strikes, which is kind of interesting, at the $26 strike for next week, you're seeing almost 6,000 in open interest. For the 25, you're seeing 3,600. But relative to that, the next biggest week is definitely going to be August 20th at this $30 strike, which is the contract that I do have. We are approaching 40,000 in open interest. So I do think relative to the next couple of weeks, if we don't see a gamma squeeze this week, then I think we'll see this going throughout the rest of the next couple of weeks. Obviously, though, it goes without saying, I'm not a financial advisor, not a financial planner, or your dad, unless you want me to be your dad, but I'm pretty sure I am not your dad, so take this information with a grain of salt. A lot of this information is facts. Some of this is my opinion, so don't base any trades based off of what I say. Always verify everything and come to your own conclusions. But let's take a look at a little bit of the chart action, and the best, most bullish thing that I do see happening right now is on the daily chart. We did break up past our 50-day moving average, which was at $23.10. So we were firmly under this starting the day today. About $22, broke above this by a pretty large margin, about $1.20 or $1.18. We broke above this. So as long as we stay above the 50-day moving average, I think you're going to see a lot of algorithmic trading programs start to bid this up and overall see a nice movement to the upside, given the short interest, the shorts I have to cover, the gamma squeeze, everything we have talked about, the algorithmic trading programs. So let's go to the 4-hour candlestick chart to get a little bit better glimpse of what we're looking at. We still have to break the 50-day moving average on the 4-hour candlestick chart, and that is currently at $24.92. So I think that is obviously going to happen tomorrow. That's not even going to be a dollar move. That's about a 60-cent move from where we are currently at right now. So especially if we break this on the 4-hour candlestick chart, that'll be a great sign going into the future. But other than that, you guys are going to want to watch the $22 point for potential downside and to find some support at that level, like we have recently seen 3 times now, where we did gap up and then found support multiple times at that $22 price point. Obviously, to the upside, you're looking at $30 resistance level. Other than that, I don't want to bore you guys with the technical analysis. I know most people don't like technical analysis, and CCIV, you can use technicals with this, but it's not really a technical trade, since you could make an argument if you held CCIV for 2 to 5 years that it's grossly undervalued, like I do think myself. My price predictions for CCIV by 2026, by 5 years from now, if they are pulling $22 billion in revenue per year like they estimate, each share of CCIV minus any dilution. We know that's going to happen, but would be about $400, about $420 per share at its current valuation that I did give it. So I think this is a great long-term buy and hold. But let's get into my overall long position and my trades in CCIV. If you guys are unfamiliar with what is going on in my portfolio, my market value of $4,077.36. I am now up 4.89%. I was down 4% just in yesterday's video, up $190. My average cost of $23.14. I do own 168 shares at 12.72% of my portfolio. Now I do have a CCIV $20 put. I sold this put, so this is actually a bullish trade. What you do here is you give up the collateral to potentially buy 100 shares at this strike. So this trade costs $2,000 to put that $2,000 up. Worst case scenario, if CCIV is under $20 by August 20th, then I would have to buy 100 shares of CCIV at $18.33. In the meantime, I collected $167. Now, when you sell a put, you make money when the stock goes up, you lose money when the stock goes down, but as long as it stays above $20 by this expiration date, I would not have to buy the shares. I would keep $167 free and clear. And the only time you really want to do this if you think this is a good deal. I think getting shares of CCIV at $18.33 would be a phenomenal deal, and if it happens, it happens. Cool, I get to buy 100 shares at $18.33. If it doesn't happen, then I keep $167 in profit just for leaving $2,000 on the table in this trade for I believe about a month since I did make this trade. But like I said, I collected $167. It's currently worth $113, so I'm up $54 or 32.34%. So that was a great trade right there. As far as my actual short squeeze trades, Gamma Squeeze trades, I do have CCIV $30 calls for August 20th. I have 2 of them. I bought this first one at $191, bought the second one at $145. Keep in mind, I was up a lot on these contracts. These contracts were recently at about $400 on June 30th. I did not sell out of the one contract that I did own as far back as June 15th. So you guys, this may be a message to some of you guys. If you have multiple contracts or a large position in a winning trade, feel free to take profits. Please take profits. I keep my trades small so I can just set them and forget them and ride them out. If they expire worthless, they expire worthless, but usually they are home runners. So if you guys would like to be notified in real time every time a trade is made, whether it's a day trade, swing trade, longer term investment in stocks, options, or crypto, check that out. Link down below in the description. As well as on your way out of this video, make sure to smash that like button as well as comment down below. Let me know your position size in CCIV. Also, consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. But with that being said, that is going to conclude this video. I will see you guys in the next one.